Hi, I'm Quentin Kennedy. My family's been in agriculture for over 3 generations and I own Kialla Pure Foods. We're an organic cereal grain mill, so we only do process organic cereal grains, one of the largest in Australia. We've got a great relationship with our current growers. We're a full-time grain buyer who constantly is liaising with the growers, working out cropping potentials and cycles and managing that side of it. But we're also quite proactive in encouraging growers into organic production through things like fixed-term contracts and underwriting in conversion processes. We're running an SQF QA process, which is quite a high level of quality control. We've got a full-time sales manager, full-time grain buyer. So as the industry grows, everyone is growing with it, getting more and more professional, increasing specifications and that sort of thing, as with any industry that is maturing.
Basically came from the cotton industry, funnily enough, and fell into organics. About 10 years ago, a bloke approached me about share farming some organic country and sort of haven't really looked back. Nowadays, organic farmers actually wear shoes and stuff. We're not, 30 years ago, living in the hills. It's actually a proper industry. A lot of the organic farmers are actually at the pointy end of the farming industry. They're right up there with the conventional guys as far as technology and research and stuff go.
We looked at the chemical idea and figured it really wasn't for us. Decided to go with the organic option first. It's been pretty much a win-win ever since. We originally went into organics for the farming, found that there was a pretty reasonable cattle market, and to be able to incorporate the two is very much a positive all round. We do grow a bit of grain to feed through our cattle. We do a grain assisting in the paddock system.
For years we'd been growing cotton conventionally previous. We were spraying every week and I didn't like having all the chemicals over ourselves, so that's why I thought, well, why not do a sort of whole of life change? Because I'm always changing crops because I like sort of growing a new crop. Every couple of years I try a new crop, so that's how I just sort of challenged myself in that way.
I got tired of using chemicals. I didn't enjoy it, but not many farmers do. I don't think any farmers really enjoy using chemicals, and so I relish farming without chemicals.
You go back again 12 years ago, you'd talk about organic and people would say, oh, what's that all about? Now you mention the word organic and, oh yeah, I eat this or I eat that. So the consuming public is very much aware of what they're eating. They're very much aware of provenance. They want to know where their food comes from and they want to know people that are in the supply chain with that food. The whole industry is continuing to grow, continuing to get more and more professional in its production. From a farmer point of view, there's more allowed inputs to use in the production cycle to assist with production. So solving problems organically, if you will. So that's assisting the growers. From our point of view, there's more opportunities, there's more companies looking at value-add opportunities using organic materials. So right throughout the supply chain there's increasing opportunities. In the export market that's also growing as well.
It's a 3-year process. We weren't using chemicals and stuff in the beginning, so it wasn't very difficult at all. It's just a matter of going through the processes. It is a bit of a juggling act, but yeah, we seem to get through it. In any farm situation you need family support. I guess it's just me and my father out here and he's into it. I've got a cousin across the river that does organics as well.
The organic farming wasn't quite as hard as I thought it might be, but I had my mind well accustomed to the idea of it and we adjusted reasonably well actually, quite well actually. We don't use any pesticides, we don't use any herbicides for weeds, and we don't use any artificial fertilisers. But we do use organic compounds. We use some biopesticides when the need really arises. We use organic fertilisers and sprays.
People can't get their head around not using herbicide. 30 years ago, no one used it, so it's nothing new. It's just nowadays it's a band-aid solution to their weed problems. 30 years later, they're starting to get resistance. So, you know, weeds are the main issue, and then the fertility comes after that. But the conventional industry have actually worked out that most organic practices are probably the way to go with fertility anyway.
Maize is a fairly easy crop from a pest point of view. Your modern hybrid is pretty disease resistant and there's really not many issues with it. That's on the grain side. It gets more complicated in sweet corns and things. But from a grain point of view, that's pretty straightforward. It's probably more getting the soil able to produce a good crop of corn, which is probably the most difficult part of growing maize. And that's where we rely very much on a green manure crop, because they need very high levels of N, and you'll get that from ploughing in a good big cover crop.
We find it's a little bit more of a natural way to go. The chemicals, I think, have got their use-by date. I think anyone that goes that way, I don't see a lot of people that actually enjoy the use of chemicals, but to make a dollar and get by, I think they've got to. And for us, it's certainly a greener way to go. And I think all around the country is better for it, and the animals are better for it.
We use chisel ploughs and cultivators and disc ploughs and everything like that conventionally years ago, so nothing's really changed there against organics. It's just organics, we clean everything down before we come onto the place.
We're constantly looking for grains that give our clients an additional point of differentiation, and our clients are seeking that from us. They're looking at opportunities for their own business to be different, and effectively that's what organic gives you, a key point of differentiation, and then it's about what you produce within that area to have a sustainable competitive advantage.
I guess most organic farmers do need to have a better margin, like a premium for their product, because our costs are somewhat high. You know, like to send chippers through the paddocks is not a cheap thing. It's getting more expensive every year.
From my point of view, you're growing a good product and it's also a financially viable business.
The price for organic grain is pretty good. It's a very solid premium over conventional, so the organics lets us at least make some profit. There's no question that it's more profitable than conventional grain around here.
If you're doing good for society, I think that's enough. You know, you don't have to look for all the rewards. You know, as long as you're getting a decent price for the grain, that's fine.
If you're on the cutting edge, you want to get out of that commodity play. I personally don't see any future in being a commodity producer, going for quantity all the time. I think there's good opportunity, or more opportunity, to be more of a niche player. And that doesn't mean you need to be small. You know, there's some substantial businesses based on niche markets.
I hope to be able to hand the land down to my daughters in a better shape than the way I previously got it. Sent up to my daughters to carry it on.
Well, there's obviously a high demand for the organic products for people that have allergies and things like that. You can see there's a big advantage. I'm proud that my family's been here for over 100 years. I hope they're here for a lot longer, and I think we've got the sustainability about right.
I think there's more recognition of the chemical side of vegetable production probably, and grain, and I think young people these days are more concerned about that because there is a real swing into more vegetables and they're very worried about the chemicals that are in it. It's more a no chemical thing as much as it is organic, I think. The fact that they can be confident that there's no chemicals in it.
Would be very good.
For my children and for future generations beyond that, I hope. I think organics is certainly the way for them to travel along, and I think they'll benefit well out of it well into the future. As I've said to a lot of people, I honestly think that without organics, I don't think we'd still be here. I think for future generations it's going to be a major positive.
Farming has a fairly gloomy future, but people will work out one day that's where food comes from and it'll come good. And look, there's definitely a place for organics in it. I think our biggest problem at the moment is not enough of it, so as demand rises, the supply will come in time, yeah.
I want it to be synonymous with quality, with organic, with also sustainability and continuity of supply. You know, it's critical that our brand is seen to be first of mind in terms of, I know they'll have it regularly. We're a family-owned business. I'm off the land originally, so I know that it's tough being on the land in conventional farming, and I see that organics can allow you know, farmers, the whole supply chain to be sustainable.